Hi, Craig here again with a few quick tips for home buyers. If this is your first home, these tips are for you. And if you've purchased homes in the past, these tips are for you too, because markets change, laws change, and home buying changes. So you may not only save time and money with these tips, but you may also avoid a lot of stress. Keep in mind too that when you work with me as a buyer's agent, you don't pay a commission. The commission's always paid by the seller. Let me ask you a question. Would you feel comfortable buying a house if the seller said they really didn't know where the property lines were? Or if they said something like, I think the neighbor's driveway is on my property, but I'm not sure. There's really no good reason for not having a survey done when you buy a house, period. There's no reason not to have a survey. None. Zero. A survey is really the only true way of knowing where property lines are and to know if there are any encroachments or easements. In Michigan, if another person's land is occupied by a non-owner for at least 15 years, that land is now owned by the user. It's called adverse possession. In other words, if your neighbor has a garden on your property and you don't say anything for the next 15 years, they could own it. Sure, there are county or township maps that show parcel boundaries, but those aren't always accurate. You should never assume where a property line is. I can relate many stories where the parcel boundaries were thought to be only to find out from a survey the boundaries weren't where we thought they were. That example of the garden, that actually was the case with a house I sold in Cedar Springs. Fortunately, the owners worked it out and it wasn't a big deal. But if it would have been a shed or expensive fence or something like that instead of a garden, it might have had a different outcome. Sometimes lenders will require a survey. They want to make sure there aren't going to be any issues down the road. In other words, they want to know exactly what the property is before they loan money. The only time in Michigan when a survey is required by law is when a parcel's boundaries are changed. For example, when a large parcel is split. I like to see sellers pay for a survey. After all, shouldn't they prove to buyers what they're selling? However, sellers are under no obligation, so it becomes a negotiating point when a buyer makes an offer. What if a survey was recently done on the property? Do I still need a survey? The answer is yes, because there may have been changes since that survey, even if it was done recently. Have the neighbors built anything? Did they put up any fences? Have the neighbors recently sold? Each survey is certified to a specific person at a specific time. So yeah, even if there has been a recent survey, you should make sure you have a survey done and it's certified to you. There are different types of surveys. With a typical home purchase, a boundary survey with improvements will leave you with certified copies of the written survey indicating not only boundary lines, but also will indicate all buildings, easements, encroachments. The survey will also include wooden stakes at each of the corners. A survey doesn't cost much and can be added to the closing costs. And good fences just make good neighbors. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check in later for more home buying tips. My goal is always to put a sold sign in the yard and a smile on your face. Also, be sure to check out my website at westmichrealestate.com.